Right.
And, that's the thing that I think clubs need to do better is educating parents. I mean,
right.
If there's one thing, our club did absolutely nothing to educate parents. I mean, we'd have a preseason meeting. They say, well, I'm not really concerned about winning. And then, one sentence and go on about everything else. So, we show up to the game, this coach sucks because he's not winning.
Right. Yeah.
And we had no idea whether he was really coaching and developing skills or
right
or whatever, what have you. But
that's American sports culture.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think soccer is tougher in that regard than a lot of other sports. You can coach baseball and play to win while developing them at the same time. Because, baseball's, the game. You're hitting, you're butting players over, whatever it is. Yeah. Soccer, it's not, it's a little different in that regard. And even in scoring, we've talked about this before. You watch enough soccer, it's amazing how many games you see where the better team does not win the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So then at the younger ages, you factor in how difficult it is technically and the athleticism involved with some players that they look like world beaters. Well, they're not world beaters. They're passing the ball into space to themselves and beating everyone else to it.
Yes.
And it looks great when you don't know any better. And it was funny what you said, because I think a lot of clubs do this is it's basically one sentence. We're focused on development, not winning. And there's no follow-up with that.
Yeah.
And especially with parents who don't know soccer, they really don't understand that.
Yes. Starting out, I didn't know soccer and I didn't understand that. But I did understand, fortunately, that Dante had to go through that year of losing, and
right.
It made him a much better player. Right. He got very mentally tough, and the DOC even pulled me aside that first year and said, "Man, your kid just plays till the end, regardless of the score." And
that's awesome, and
that's what he's supposed to do.
That kid, yeah. Well, that's it's funny you say that, because it is. But it's also actually rare, to use somebody we've talked about a few times with the ongoing joke about practice. Why do you think Philadelphia loves Allen Iverson? Because it's all out all the time. And that should be all of them, especially when you're getting paid millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
But it set him apart, sadly. I think sadly it set him apart.
Yeah,
it shouldn't really.
It's very sad.
And it's a tough thing. It's interesting because it's a tough thing to teach, just like being aggressive. You kind of have it or you don't, but I do believe it can be improved. I believe the mental toughness and the aggressiveness, kids can have it, but not necessarily show it naturally at a young age. And you have to work on helping them improve that. And it can be simple. I had a good player at a young age who did a lot of running, but she was never in the play. She was always around the play. So she was there.
Yeah.
Right. The effort, the running was there, but she wouldn't stick her. And it just took a lot of conversations of, you're too good to be around the ball. You need to get into the play. And sometimes it's as simple as that. And she did eventually. So it was in there. It just wasn't natural for it to come out, but that's huge, and if you can get through it, that's the key. That type of stuff's so important, the overcoming adversity and those obstacles. Just real quick, as a coach, going through it at the time, jumping in and being a B team coach and all that went along with that, I hated it. It was like every day, are we even going to have a team tomorrow? Oh, we're developing. We're starting to get pretty good. A team takes players, and it was tough. But looking back now, I think it made me a much, much better coach. And in terms of how I coached the players, but also in terms of what I looked for in a player at, say, a tryout, and because I was going to have no shot at the athlete that stood out at tryouts, right? I was not going to get that player. Either the A team was, or they were going to be at another club. So I had to start looking at what I think are all the things we should be looking at. Their first touch, like what they're, not even that it has to be good, but what they're trying to do.
Yes.
Right. And see that, okay, they're not standing out now, but they're showing me things that if we work in 2 or 3 or 4 years, they could be really good. And if I was an A team coach, maybe I don't look for that stuff as much because I can make the offer to the fast athlete that stands out, So it was tough going through it because really it was every day. It was like, are we going to have a team tomorrow? That makes it rough. And on the looking back, speaking of, now that you have gone through all this, and obviously you're probably one of the most educated soccer parents out there. I mean, really, that's sorry, all parents, but you looking back, would you do anything differently? Would there be anything you wanted Dante to do differently in terms of his, even if it's, should you have forced him to watch more soccer when he was younger, right? We've talked about the culture of it, or do you think that, it worked out the way it should and it was good that he went through everything he went through,
Well, it was good that he went through everything he went through. A lot of times I wonder if it didn't hurt him in the long run that we moved to the other club, seeing as how we had the merger and came back to our club. But I think I would make that move again because at that time he was ready to play travel ball.
Right.
And when he was young, he was that kid. Dante has always been fast. I mean, always. He's always been the fastest on his team. And he still is, even though we supposedly moved up. He's the fastest on his team now.
But now he's starting to show the really important part of the game, right?
Yes.
It's not just speed.
Yes. But we thought he was at the level to play travel ball, and so we moved clubs to give him the opportunity. And in a lot of ways, I wish the old club that we moved to could have stayed together because it was smaller and had a club culture. Our club, and sorry if any NCFC people are listening, but we do not have a club culture. Our club is just a corporate, sterile environment. I mean, there's no camaraderie between teams. And like when we go to tournaments, like in the National League, all our age groups go and play the same day at the same complex. Well, nobody stays to watch the other people's game. As soon as our game is over, in the car and gone. We don't have any club camaraderie. And maybe I realize with all those kids, with 12, 13 teams in every age group, it can be hard.
That's crazy. I just think that's crazy.
Well, I think we have 12 teams in travel ball in our age group, so that's not counting 4 or 5 challenge teams and 4 or 5 rec teams as well.
So you could chop that up into 4 or 5 different clubs.
And see, I don't, I never see those kids. The challenge kids. I don't even know where they practice. I don't know the names of the teams.
Right.
If their team walked up, I guess they even have different kits than we do. So I'd have to look real close to see that it was our club. But,
Wow.
But we don't have much of a club culture. But if I had it to do over again, I would have gotten Dante in supplemental training a lot earlier.
Okay.